Good morning, friends, social media, and connections that are connected to me through um, many of these social platforms, LinkedIn, Facebook, and of course, YouTube subscribers. Thank you for either watching today's episode of Selling That House, either as a live stream, or if you're catching this as an on-demand recording after the fact. Either way, the content never changes. So let's go. Let's hope you enjoy what you're going to hear today. Today, everyone, I've got two special guest appearances. One that's very local to me, and another guest appearance that is not as local to me, but we're peers with each other. We're from the same organization, and he's actually a subject matter expert on a topic that you will hear more about. So with all of that said, let me bring in my first guest, Byron Ramult, into the conversation. Hello, Byron.
Hi, Bill. How are you?
Good, good. So let's warm you up this way. For the people who are listening to this, watching this, that may not know who you are, why don't you start off with a quick introduction?
Well, I'm a certified financial planner with Stratos Wealth Partners, and our office is located here in Elmhurst, right off West Butterfield Road. And I've been in the business since 1998, along with my partner here. And we work with individuals, business owners with comprehensive wealth management, investment management. If you're planning children going to college, if you're selling a business, if you have money and you're worried about estate planning, we have estate planning people on staff, accountants, taxes. I don't do taxes specifically, but we have a group that does taxes here as well.
That sounds wonderful. So from what I'm hearing, your business, like ours, is all about helping clients navigate and work through those life events, those big ones especially.
Absolutely.
All right. So thank you for sharing with all of us a little bit more about you. So let me lean in now and get you to offer your thoughts on this first topic. And that is, it seems, the data seems to support it as well. And that is the baby boomer generation is one of the wealthiest generations and demographics right now, correct?
That is. They actually control 50% of all wealth in the United States.
Okay. And now that you've confirmed that for me, beyond data that I can pick up through online articles, magazines, whatever, it makes sense because in my business, Byron, one of the things that is very prevalent right now is there's a lot of cash buyers for real estate. So, you know, your data, your feedback certainly supports that. Now, having said that, can you describe in general how baby boomers have accumulated all of this wealth?
Well, they've accumulated this wealth over time. When they started working, it's a lot different. As you know, you and I are in the working force these days. Things are much different now than they were back then. There were pensions. A lot of the firms had pensions. It's very difficult to find companies now that offer pensions. Well, they had 401ks and pensions, and people worked the same firms for a long period of time. Now you see individuals switching jobs quite often. That's just the way things are. And on top of that, you notice that because a lot of families, you have husbands and wives both working together just to try to keep up with what the baby boomers were able to do when they just had one person working in the household. So much different than it is today. But again, it's the longevity of where these individuals stayed at firms for a long time and had pensions on top of 401ks.
Gotcha. And through a cliche, time value of money, the more that they accumulated, the more that they saved, time just did its thing to mushroom that initial investment into something so much bigger, right?
Correct.
Okay. Are you also then seeing maybe the other spectrum, and that is maybe some baby boomers that are cliche, health rich, cash poor?
Had a technologically glitch there. Could you repeat the question, Bill?
Sure, absolutely. I said on the other spectrum, are you seeing some baby boomers that are house rich and cash poor?
Absolutely. It happens all the time. Yeah, I actually have our office here in Elmhurst, but I live in Barrington as well, two affluent towns, and you see that quite a bit. A lot of people are stuck in their homes due to the fact that just to move, it's going to cost more to move. They're better off staying where they're at. That's why you're seeing less and less homes come up on the market. I just think that's a trend we've seen for just past COVID here. And I don't see when that's going to change. You're more the expert as far as on the housing side than I am, but as far as how long that's going to last. But I do see that quite often, just less and less homes, more people that are moving in the areas are trying to build in a sense because they're not finding homes that are available just because people cannot afford to move out of their specific residence.
True. And not to mention, these baby boomers sometimes, as part of their next life event moving, they're not necessarily what I call downsizing in their downsizing sense. They're kind of right sizing, meaning they're maybe wanting to move from the bigger 2-story home to like a 1-level ranch home, correct?
Correct. Yeah, less stairs. That's the theme.
That is the thing. Yeah, ranch homes are like the hottest commodity right now. How are you and your team consulting with those clients in what you guys do?
Well, I think the biggest thing is when you look at just baby boomers in general, they control 50% of the wealth. And a lot of other generations, less and less, but we're seeing a huge transfer in wealth. That's what in our business, we call it the great transformation of wealth. It's somewhere in the neighborhood of 12% as the silent generation controls the wealth. And if you're not familiar with that term, it's some people call it the traditionalist group, and that's more of people that were born from 1928 to 1945. And then you have millennials that own 9% of the wealth, and then the Gen Xers like myself is about 30%. So you can see it's they will control more wealth going forward. And I see a lot of people with accounts in our business that and I'm not going to talk estate planning too much, but that is some of the benefits that we share here that makes sense. And when we have transfers of wealth, some of these numbers are going to change significantly. I think the number is now $84 trillion. Cerulli's saying that will transfer over from the baby boomers to Gen Xers and millennials. That about 12 trillion of that will go on to charity, but 72 will go on to those other demographic groups. And I'll tell you, I don't know. A lot of those homes are stuck. I've seen in my town some homes that just have stayed vacant after some of the individuals have passed away, and you wonder what did they I don't know why they're not selling, they're not living there. These are all questions that I have that I don't understand, really, frankly, that makes sense. If you can get something for it and you're not living in it, that would make more sense to me compared to somebody who is stuck in their home, which we talked about a couple minutes ago, in the sense of they're cash poor.
Yeah.
And it's a different thing.
Yeah, very true, very true. So with that as kind of a conversation point, let me now add into our conversation, Byron, my next guest appearance, one of my peers. Let's bring him into the conversation to talk about what he can share, which is a solution for these baby boomers that might be house rich and cash poor. Kevin, how are you?
Good morning, sir. How are you doing?
Good, good. So thank you for sharing your time with Byron and myself this morning. You've heard the conversation so far as to how we've kind of set it up for you to contribute your subject matter expertise. And that is, there's this thing called a reverse mortgage, right?
Yes, sir.
What are some of the most common misperceptions about a reverse mortgage?
Boy, how much time do we have?
Well, we'll keep it to the top 5. How's
There
that?
you go. Well, first of all, we don't like to use the term reverse mortgage for whatever reason. When you put those two words together, um, most people automatically just kind of shut down because there are a lot of misconceptions out there. And one thing I do want to say about any mortgage product, guidelines change. And so a lot of our seniors, which is what a reverse mortgage is for, otherwise known as a home, there we go, otherwise known as a home equity conversion mortgage, that's the FHA's official term. A lot of them remember what the program used to be. And the program is not like it was. This is a highly protected loan program for a protected class. You have to be at least one borrower has to be 62 years or older to get into this home equity conversion mortgage. But some of the main myths, the most common myth out there is that the bank owns the home, and that really has never been true. That's a guideline that hasn't changed because it's never been true. The borrowers are still on title, and if the borrower's on title, they're the owners of the home. Now the bank has the loan. But that doesn't mean that they own the home. It's just like any other mortgage out there, right? So the borrowers remain on title. And so that is probably one of the biggest questions that we have. The second is that the equity doesn't belong to me anymore. The equity belongs to either the government or the bank. And that is not true either.
Right.
When the house has to be sold, whether it's when the last remaining borrower on the loan passes away, or whether they have to move into an assisted living home or a nursing home, the borrower simply sells the home or the heirs, and whatever equity remains goes to the heirs. So those are probably two of the biggest misconceptions out there, and two of the biggest questions that we always have to address.
So with what Byron touched on earlier, which is perhaps more baby boomers are deciding to or having to stay in place. Therefore, we've heard this other cliche, aging in place. Can this specialty mortgage assist them in maybe retrofitting their existing home so that they can age in place without having to deal with the challenge of uprooting themselves and moving to somewhere else?
Yeah, and that's a really, really important question. 88% of our seniors, they do want to age in place. They want to pass away in their homes. They don't want to have to move into an assisted living facility. So how can this loan help them stay there? So let's just take a simple example of a 65 or let's go a 75-year-old borrower who either owns their home free and clear or maybe has a small loan balance. You can get into a reverse mortgage, and that reverse mortgage will help provide income for those borrowers to stay in their home and hire out in-home care. The average cost of in-home care is about $5,700 a month. And so where are they going to get the money? Where are they going to get the money to pay for that? And another important statistic, and Byron, you probably see this in your business as well, is that for those seniors who are age 65 or over, the average retirement savings is $87,000. That's a report from CNBC about a year and a half ago. And so we're also living about 20 years longer than the generation before. And if you make it to age 65, there's a 50% chance you're going to make it to age 85. And so if you put all of that stuff together, how is $87,000 going to last for an additional 20 years if now they also are in a position where they need to have in-home care?
Yeah. Byron, what's your thoughts about that? I mean, even for the baby boomers that may be both house rich and asset rich, isn't there an upside to the fact that if they don't have to touch their investments, their assets that you've helped them grow, I mean, that's a nice to have as well, right?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, when you have your investments, that we always tell emotions drive a lot of bad decisions, and So we always like to have clients keep their money invested, and that's part of the challenge that my partner and I have, is keeping people to keep their emotions in check. It's something that's happening. For example, if you put, just say you put $100,000 in we all remember 2008 was a year we want to probably forget. 2009, if you put your money in the beginning of 2009, $100,000, you kept it in until the end of last year, 2023, it would be worth $689,830. That's about roughly 590% return, or roughly a little over 14% per year. So it's significant, and it's something we try to stress our clients to just take a step back when things get, for right now, actually the markets have gotten a little volatile here, but obviously in the last year or so, it's been very good.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I think human nature being what it is, sometimes all of us, not just the baby boomers and the seniors, we can let our emotions move us into reactionary mode to make the wrong decision. So as we wrap up today's episode of Selling That House, for those of you who are watching this, either as a live stream or as an on-demand recording, if you know someone in your sphere of influence who needs to consult with a wealth management financial planner, reach out to Byron. We'll make it real simple as we wrap up today's episode as to how I can help you connect with Byron. And along the way, if you need a personal consultation, if you have specific questions about this specialty mortgage for seniors who can qualify for this so that they can age in place, same thing. Watch for the QR code so that you can scan it. And both Kevin and myself will start a conversation with you. So, gentlemen, as we wrap up today, thank you for sharing your time with me and offering some of your high-level expertise as to the solutions that benefit this segment of home sellers and potential home buyers. That's a wrap, guys. Audience members,
thank you.
We'll see you in the next episode 2 weeks out.
Have a good day.
Thank you.